So I think it's been about a year since I made my last video, and it was an interesting year because I was dealing with a lot mentally and emotionally, but I also was learning a lot of new things, and I was learning some new processes and new media, and I did some, I'd mostly worked on commissions for the last year, and so that means that I've got a whole bunch of ideas that I've been thinking of for the last year or so that I haven't been able to get out of me until now. And so that's been exciting going into this year. I've been able to get started on some of that stuff and working through some new ideas, working on some bigger work, working on, like I said, these new processes. So one of the things that I've been doing is basically all last year I was teaching myself how to make tintype photographs, which is basically if you want to look it up, it's the process is called wet plate collodion, and it's about a 200-year-old photographic process that basically is done in about 15 minutes from start to finish, where you basically make your own film, you expose it, and you process it all within about 15 minutes, and it's really cool. So I've been doing that a lot. And I also found out that the paper that I've been using for my drawings, I can't really get anymore. And so rather than taking that as some sort of hurdle where I have to find a different shade of gray or where I have to find a different manufacturer, I decided that I was going to try an entirely new drawing process and just open myself up to the possibilities that I hadn't experimented with before, and I really like the results. So I started out looking through Instagram at artists that I admire, that work whose drawings I really love. And I always come back to Annie Murphy Robinson. I think her stuff is just really beautiful. She has really great textures. I love the photographic nature of her work. I love the textures, and the process is really interesting and kind of fits in with my way of making art, of this kind of alternate process resulting in something that's semi-traditional yet contemporary. And so so if you're not familiar with her work, she actually does this process where she loads a paper with charcoal and then sands it to bring the tooth back out. And it also kind of, at the same time, evens out the tone of the paper. And so then you're able to take an eraser and erase from there to get your highlights, or you can add charcoal to get shadows. So I started trying that out recently, and I found out what kind of paper Annie uses and just tried using charcoal that I have around the studio, and this is the first drawing that I did. It turned out pretty good, but I found some issues in the process, that I was using a charcoal that was too hard to tone the paper, and it was actually starting to pull up some of the fibers and damage the paper. And then I also used a sandpaper that was too coarse, and it made the image a little softer because of it, that the paper was a little more fuzzy. But overall, I really liked the process. I found it to be quite quick, and that you were able to get a lot of really subtle value changes in it that I really liked. So after that kind of like proof of concept, I decided that I was going to take a little more scientific approach and try out a test strip of a couple of different a couple of different charcoals and pastels and stuff to see about which one was the best for toning the paper and which one was going to give me the best results, of which one was easiest to erase, which could I get a nice hard line but also a good gradient, which was after sanding it kind of tones down a little bit, like it's not as dark as when you first apply it. And so I wanted to see which got me closest to like a middle gray, and that I could kind of continue to work back and forth with it, getting my lighter tones and adding darker tones to it, that it wasn't just like an immediate black. And so NH was Nitram Hard, obviously then Vine Charcoal, and then Pan Pastel, and then General's Charcoal, it looks like a peanut butter jar of powdered charcoal. The Nitram was what I used on that first drawing, and that was when I was noticing that it was a little bit too hard for this process and was pulling up some of the fibers. The Vine did the same thing. The Pan Pastel was obviously a black pastel, so that was a little bit too dark. I was thinking that when I sanded it, it might tone it down a little bit, but it didn't. And then I got to the General's the powdered charcoal, and that stuff was pretty good. I really liked that one a lot. It was a little darker than I wanted initially, but that didn't hinder me from being able to add darker tones to it. It just gave me a greater value range in erasing than having to add more charcoal to it, loading down the tooth. So I decided to go with the powdered charcoal and tried out this study for the painting that's behind me. This one was really great to test this further because there was a lot of different textures in that drawing, with the wood grain and with trying to make things out of focus and have kind of a photographic look to it, but then also all of the different textures in the flowers and the leaves and getting the softness of the plaster cast. It was really interesting to try to see how bright I could get the paper back to being after toning it. And so like really the only things I used the entire time was a General's 6B charcoal and a General's white charcoal pen, like the chalk white pencil, and just to really crisp up some of those like highlight areas. I'd always struggled a little bit with the gray paper of deciding what was too much white and what was too much, what was too much white to the point where where was I losing the middle tone. And with this, it was great because I was able to just take away from that middle tone, and I was able to add to the middle tone and not feel like I was losing the point of using a toned paper. Like this really kind of celebrates that process and that idea of using a toned paper and working in the two opposite directions and leaving that middle intact. So I think that'll just about do it for this video. Be on the lookout next month for another video. I'm gonna try to set myself a tangible goal of about once a month of doing a video. I know that's not enough for the YouTube algorithms to help me any, but I think that's a little more doable for me. And if you are interested in either of these drawings, they are both still available, so go ahead and hit me up on Instagram or through my website, MatthewCookArt.com, or on Instagram at MatthewCookArt, and I can hook you up with one of these drawings. So until next time, make sure to like this video and subscribe. Maybe check me out on Instagram or Reddit. I've been posting more over there lately since I get a little more interaction over there than I do on Instagram. because Instagram sucks. And ring the little bell so that you get notified when the next video comes out. And I'll see you then.